Sorry for that. My mic was off. I'm just getting going. It's a Monday morning. How y'all doing this morning? Thanks for joining. Allie, Warrior, Kayla, the best, Frankie, Collector. Welcome. Good morning. Rick Gomez again from El Paso, Texas. Coming to you live every morning, Monday through Friday at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, 4:30 Mountain Time. I am in Mountain Time. A lot of people, all my friends call me that I live in the unknown time zone. Have you ever heard of the mountain time zone? So today, what I like to do on every morning is sort of kind of recap what happened yesterday. In terms of, I think everybody should always look back to see what went right, what went wrong, what could I have done differently. And so one of the things that that I always like to do is I like to go back into my ChatGPT and see what did I interact with it about, because what that does for me is it helps me see where my energies went, where my time went, what did I do to make a difference. And so one of the things that, and I show you my screen over here on the side, hopefully you can see that. So yesterday, the last things I was doing, man, that morning, bleh, gotta get going. One of the things that I did yesterday was I'm using TikTok Live Studio. But TikTok Live Studio has a little bit of gaps in terms of functionality and what I want for it. And so I downloaded and I have this OBS Studio. And one of the first things that it did, today's going to be a test day. Last week, my chat said you need to check your computer to see if you're not running slow, because I was having a lot of issues. And if you haven't ever done it, it's kind of fun. It's kind of not scary, but it's just fun to open up your computer, see what's in there, see the guts, see what's in there. So I went and bought some compressed air, and so CPU underclocking detected, and I don't know why, because I don't hear it going crazy over here. So I cleaned up my computer, I dusted it out, I went and bought some cans of compressed air, opened it up, cleaned it out, brushed it off. There was a lot of dust in there. And so if you haven't ever changed it's always like, have you ever changed the oil of your car? You have to do it every once in a while, because, hold on just 1 second. You have to do it, because if you don't perform the maintenance on it, you're going to have a breakdown. In about a week or so, not this Friday, but next Friday, I'm going to leave from El Paso and drive down to Houston to go see my brother. And everybody's saying, well, you think your car can make it? And I go, yeah, because, I said, yeah, I always say yes. My car's a 2014 Kia Sorento. It had about 60,000 miles when I bought it. And right now it has over 200 and some odd thousand miles. But the beauty of those 200,000 miles is that the last like 50,000, maybe 60,000, have been on a brand new engine that they replaced because they had an issue with the other one. And and again, if you don't stay on top of your stuff, your maintenance, you're gonna have a bigger bill in the future. And so I'm a big proponent of taking care of stuff in advance so that I don't have a surprise in the future. I don't know about you. How about you guys? Do you guys take care of stuff as it comes up, or do you what's that word called? Or do you check all your stuff? I like to be on top of everything. So people say that's too. You're planning too much. I yeah, I might be planning too much, but I am also planning not. I don't like surprises, so it's always better to plan in advance of what would happen or what would I do if something were to happen. So anyway, you know, I'm going down there to, and it's been a while. So I came from Houston to El Paso back in 2016. I left my life in Houston after 40 years to come on a job transfer over here. So the story I like to tell is this. I came from Houston on a job transfer. The job transfer was a bust, but I fell in love with El Paso. The weather's great, the people are great, the temperatures aren't so great in the summertime, but the rest of the time there's no humidity. I said, this is the place. This is like, it's like paradise in Texas. And so when they asked me if I wanted to go back to work in Houston, I said, for what? Hurricanes and humidity? No way. So I decided to stay here. I left the company. I started doing other things. I've always had this entrepreneurial thing in me to make some money. I don't know about you guys, but so at first I was thinking, well, sometimes you can't make decisions, you know, and not see the consequences. Luckily, I made this decision after I got a letter from my old company that I worked for, and they said, you are eligible to get your pension. And I said, send me that check. Send me that check. Because when you have a little bit of money coming in, knowing what's going to pay the rent, you like that. Thank you for those hearts. If you tap on your screen. Let's see if we can get some more people out here to listen to my gray hair, old man life lessons. I'm not even old man. 65 is the new 45. In case you're thinking about that you're old, don't shortchange yourself. And so anyway, we started talking about the moving to El Paso, and a lot of people won't move. One of the lessons that I learned when I was in college, I did first 2 years was in a school outside of where I was born in McAllen, Texas, out in Harlingen, Texas. And it was a 2-year school, so that was great. But for you to continue to grow, you got to keep going to school, got to keep learning, you got to continue to be that person that's valuable to your company, that is, that you're getting new skills. And so one of my ahas from back in that time period was you have to be able to be flexible. And so I've always been flexible. If you're not flexible, you can learn to be flexible. So we're talking about my trip from El Paso to Houston next Friday, and would my nearly, how many years is that? 2014, 2024? Will my 12-year-old car make it? And it will, because it has a new engine on it that has barely about 60,000 miles on it. I've repaired all the parts that are moving, which is a lot cheaper than making a payment or having a big balance on a car. And then after a while, you don't care. It's not that you don't care about what people think about you, but I don't care. I mean, if my car can get me from point A to point B, and I have air conditioning and I have a radio, and then I'm happy, and it can get me there, and I don't have a payment. So the air compressor's been changed out this couple months ago. I got 4 new tires. Like I said, the engines have low mileage on it, and now so all I got to do is drive. Now that's the hard part. From El Paso to Houston, it's a long drive. And when I first came to El Paso, I took on some other jobs to figure out, not jobs, we'll call them side gig incomes. I had to figure out, how do I go from 40 years in Houston and knowing all about my area and the city of Houston and everything I do over there, and getting up and moving. How do I integrate here into El Paso? So even though I didn't have any relatives here or friends when I came here, I did have my ex-coworkers and people that I had met that had become my friends during that time period. and and so one of the things that I learned and I appreciate from them is that, well, the first person was my brother. My brother said, "Hey, well, you'll be up there. Why don't you learn the streets? Why don't you Uber? Uber. You can Uber, get paid, learn the streets, and you'll get paid for it." And I said, "That's a good idea." And so I did that for 2 years, and there's rides you remember and there's rides you don't want to remember. But the biggest thing about that side gig thing was that it helps you prepare for when you don't have work because you can't earn money. One of my old mentors said that you always have to be ready to serve others because you can always make money. A person that can always make money. You may not make the kind of money you want, and you may you may not like doing what you're doing, but you can always serve others and make some money. So you should never be hungry. You should never be without a place to live, because you can always do something for that money. And then another one of my mentors. So the thing here is that you should always be listening to your mentors, right? Along the way, you have to be picking up skills to serve a lot of people. This skill that I'm doing right here is reaching a lot of people. I'm looking at my numbers here. 291 viewers have come by. And then by the time I finish this 90-minute set, I'll have enough material to put into a piece of software that I use to cut up and make shorter versions of this 90-minute video. And so when you learn those skills, you're sort of kind of untouchable, because you don't care what is happening with the economy. You don't care what's happening at your work. You don't care what's happening, anywhere else, because you're in control of your time. So yes, I had to make some adjustments. I had to get up earlier. I had to get up at I get up at 4 to get ready to be on here at 4:30 or 4:30-ish, like this morning. And be ready. But I love learning, so it's fun. If you're a learner, give me a thumbs up. Tell me you're a learner. I've never stopped learning since. I remember in high school learning how to do different things, and I used to buy books on sports back then, and football and weights and how to be the best lineman you could be, and so there was a lot of personal development even back then without me even knowing about it. And so one of the things that I had wanted to do was to hold on a second. For whatever reason. So this weekend I put time and effort into cleaning out my computer, because I was getting a lot of these CPU messages and I didn't like that. And I like to share screens. I like to have 2 screens open at the same time. And over here on the right hand side, the bottom, the part that you're seeing there, is my ChatGPT. And here you can see that, if you haven't started using ChatGPT just for your own personal assistant, forget about trying to make money from it. It'll help you organize everything that you need when you have a problem. And like I said, this one. So yesterday was Sunday. One of my projects for yesterday was to and if I forget anything, just drop it in the chat. I'll look for it and see if I can answer that question for you, because I will bounce around a little bit because I'm excited to be here with you guys today. I'm excited for Monday. I'm a substitute teacher now as a part-time income thing for me as a retiree. And the message, they'll, "Rick, why are you working?" They asked me the other day, "Why are you working?" And I said, well, one, because I like being with kids. I like encouraging them. I like teaching them. I like helping them. It's almost like being a dad all over again. You know, my daughter's in her 30s now. Yeah, 32. And I remember when I helped her do things, it was more that I was her courage when she didn't have courage and confidence. I was her self-image when she didn't have self-image. And then I couldn't teach her self-esteem, but I could love on her and just make sure that I patted her on the head, pat her on the back, come on, let's go, let's do it again. Come on, let's do it. And so that's what I want to be here with you guys, is I want to help you work on your self-image, your self-confidence, and your self-esteem, because with those three things, you can go places. You can earn degrees, you can get jobs, you can start new things, you can learn how to do this TikTok live studio. You can handle issues on the fly. You know, if something were to pop up right now and you didn't know what to do, when you become self-confident and have some skills, you can say, well, hold on just one second, let me take a look at this thing that's going on right here. And so anyway, I want to say thank you again for everybody that's showing up. Waked, Jack, PFY, you guys have some really interesting names. I appreciate you. Soggy Toilet Paper 777. See, that's interesting stuff. I don't know why they chose that name, but that's okay. So anyway, we're talking about, and I'm showing about what I did this weekend. And so part of my weekend was cleanup. And I don't know if you know how much you can do in ChatGPT as a personal assistant. But this is the kind of stuff that I was working on. So just one second. So let me run up here real quick. So last week I did 5 days of 90-minute lives every morning. And and I wanted to, but I didn't like, now don't get me wrong, TikTok Live Studio has been good, and I get it, but there's other tools you can use that'll feed into TikTok Live Studio and be more flexible. And so I said, I want to try to use that system and feed into here, but without success. And then just yesterday, I just threw my hands up and said, I'm going to take a break. I like to kid with all my friends that if I need to really take it down a notch, stop thinking, I said, it's time for a Hallmark movie. I just like to watch, put it on there. You always know what's going to happen. You know, there's always a boy-girl problems. There's always somebody losing a restaurant or something. And then everybody comes to the rescue, and the boy gets the girl, and it's easy peasy, no thinking. And so I like that because sometimes you have to do that. You have to step back. You have to clean off your desktop. You have to clean off your memory. You have to clean up because you get bogged down. And so with my ChatGPT, I was trying to figure out ways to help people learn about ChatGPT. Ask people, are you using it? And give me 1 second, because this thing's not ready yet here. Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate you. You give me some love. Hit tap your screen so I can get some more people to come in. What we're talking about is using ChatGPT as a personal assistant. I was wanted to had a that PC's about 4 or 5 years old, and I went into it yesterday to clean it out because I was getting this message that CPU is underclocking detected. Learn how to improve it. And so one of the things that it recommended was cleaning it out. So I went to my ChatGPT, and my ChatGPT told me that I could do there you go. That I needed to clean it up, and so I went out there, bought me some compressed air, opened it up, and started clean it out. And it sounds better. It doesn't rev up like. Have you ever had your computer rev up like it's like struggling? It's real quiet, so that's sort of kind of scary sometimes when it's not doing anything. But I know that it's doing something because I'm watching the clock tick. I'm watching people join. I got my other screen down up over here. So so one of the things I wanted to get done yesterday was to take my OBS studio, connect it to my TikTok live studio, and see if I could get it to work where I would operate from OBS. And I know that sounds technical because it's still technical to me, but I wanted to have a better tool to come here to do lives, to have more flexibility, to show more stuff, to teach more, to teach better, to show you things. And one of the things, I don't know, you tell me, you guys like the dark background that I like for easy on my eyes, or would you rather prefer a white background with black letters on it? To me, this is easier on my eyes here, but I don't know what it looks like to you guys on your phone. But I took this picture, a screenshot of, let's see if I can pull it up here. And it was a little bit about what the video quality was, the resolution, the frames per second, all that kind of stuff. And I put it into my ChatGPT, and I go, this is what it looks like today. This is what it is. And so then I it went and analyzed that photo, that image. You want to see some of the weirdest things, or coolest things, I think. You upload an image into ChatGPT, and you tell it, what am I looking at? What is this telling me? And it'll pick out what it is, where it is, how, what to do to improve whatever you're looking at. And so it knows that I was on TikTok Live Studio. It read the video quality, it read the resolution, the frames per second, bit rates, all that kind of stuff. And then it gives you some settings. Stream latency off. Turn on if you want sync audio and video, but may delay interactions. And it gave me more notes. So then it talked about the speed of my connection. So it gives you some ideas on how to fix that. And then I said, hey, so how to connect OBS to TikTok Live Studio. It gave me a step-by-step plan or task list of how to do that. So if you've never done that before, you can open up your ChatGPT, ask it what you, or tell it what you need, and it'll tell you. And you don't got to be his friend or whatever, or her friend. You just, bottom line, I need this. Help me with this. And it does it. That's what I love about it. It doesn't say, no, I can't, I got a headache. No, I can't because I got to do something else. No, I can't, whatever. It just does it right then and there. I love it. And that's the best part of this ChatGPT and AI. And if you're not using it, I highly encourage you to start. If something is whatever's keeping you from learning it is also what's keeping you from doing anything else in your life. And so, and again, if you're going to get into the digital marketing space, when you get a customer, they expect you to know some of this stuff, right? And even if you don't know it, they expect you to know where to go find it and how to solve that problem. One of my ahas in my life is that in this world, in the United States of America, and in anywhere, because this is the way the world works, you're either a problem maker or a problem solver. And the problem makers, there's a lot of them because that's why there's, problem solvers. And so if you've never thought of your world that way, I want you to start thinking about that, how are you helping other people solve problems? And so ChatGPT, watch this. Because some people don't even know where to start. So I'm going to put you in here in new chat. And I'm going to say, because we have a relationship, I've been feeding ChatGPT a bunch of my knowledge, of skills, experiences that I've had. So it knows me now. And it knows what I know. It doesn't know everything I know, right? It knows some of what I've experienced. And so now I put here, so What problems do I help? I could have left it like that. It knows that I meant help. Other people solve. And then, then I'll come back and I'll say, great question, Rick. As a mentor, marketer, and architect of freedom, you're in a unique combination of lived experience, that's all that's great here, software automation, personal development, helps people solve several critical problems, especially those stuck in traditional income models, low confidence, or outdated ways of thinking. The income trap. Problem. People are stuck in jobs that pay them less than they're worth. How I help. You introduce them to automated income streams and affiliate marketing systems. You show them how to go from $3K a month to $30K a month by building digital assets that pay over and over. Time for money loop. Problem. Trading hours for dollars with no scalability. How you help. You teach them to leverage automation. Thanks for all those hearts. If you want to keep tapping, I'd appreciate it. You teach them how to leverage automation, AI tools, and done-for-you systems like the Daily Goals system. The Daily Goals system is a name that it gave my sort of kind of process, but it's a system. Systems work. McDonald's is a system, and it works. FedEx is a system, and it works. Walmart is a system, and it works. So everything's a system. You got to find your system, and you got to work your system. You help them earn passive income by doing the work once and getting paid repeatedly. So part of the work that's getting done one time is this recording. This thing will get recorded. It'll be a 90-minute recording. I'll drop it into, or I'll download it to my desktop. And I haven't figured out the whole process to make it a little bit faster because, but I'll figure it out because I'm thinking about it all the time. It comes down here, and then I take the recording and put it up into YouTube. Oh, excuse me. YouTube, I put that into my Opus Clips. Opus Clips will take that recording and then it'll cut it up into a bunch of little smaller clips for Reels and Facebook, whatever they call them over on Facebook, Shorts. And then it'll highlight and it'll caption it, and that's what it'll come out here on the bottom of the screen of this recording. And so it helps me do a lot. So that's called leverage, because I don't have to do it. Once I finish recording, I can let it process, and then by the time I get ready, drive to my school that I'm going to be at today, while I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, getting ready for class to start, I can literally start planning the video clips that are going to be coming out, because the system's working while I'm driving or drinking coffee or talking to the other teachers. And good morning, everybody. Thanks for those hearts. Tap, tap, tap. If you're liking what you're hearing. So, talking about problem solve. Ask your ChatGPT, if you haven't in a while, what problems are you solving so you stay on task about what you're supposed to be doing. Again, I help people. Trust me, I used to be that guy that wants to go and trade hours for dollars. And then I just, I was married at the time. My daughter was a baby. And I hated being away from the family, and that's where I started first saying, I don't like that. I want to be here. Well, I'm not here anymore with the family because they're all grown up and gone and all that. But I know how to scale now. With this recording, I can reach. I just see that we're just past 603 viewers. Where else can this TikTok reaches people, and then the recordings last way longer after the live is over. And so, but that comes with skills. And if you want to have skills, where I learned some of the skills, so I didn't learn all my skills at that website and that blueprint that I'm telling you about. I didn't learn them there. I learned them from books, experience, being when they first invented the rock. I don't know, I started from way beginning, and I started learning from way back then. And so I learned, and I added to my knowledge and skill set and toolbox, if you want to call it that, every year. And so, but when I saw this blueprint and I went through it, they have everything there that I learned in, 25 years of working in corporate America, learning, going through the PC phase, going through all that. It's all in this one blueprint. It's all there. And if back when I was learning, I had to go book by book, and that book said part of it, but the other book kept added to it. And it didn't always tell you what you needed, so you always had to buy another book. This blueprint that I have and that you can have now, I believe is the best all together put together information that you can start with, because you never stop learning, but you got to start somewhere. And take a look at that if you want. If you're looking to work with somebody who has gray hairs and has experience doing this. So again, ask your ChatGPT, what problems do I help other people solve? And it knows who I am. I help people solve the problem of being stuck in a job that pays them less than they're worth. I help them with the time for money loop, where again, I'll go to my part-time substitute teaching job, but my system will keep working. And so you want a system to keep working for you while you're gone. When I was driving Uber, and Uber was to learn the streets, but I also observed the other drivers. The other drivers, they all want to make money. They all want to make income. They want to turn that gig into a job that pays every Friday, and it's consistent. Well, when you come into the world of entrepreneurism, there is no consistent. You gotta, some days you have good, some days you have bad. You have to know how to pay the bills first, and then start saving money, because you never know when that emergency is going to hit. But you're free. You don't have anybody telling you when to go to work, when to show up, all that kind of stuff. But you're free, and so it's a good feeling to have, because you're never under the thumb of anybody. And I've always loved that feeling since I was younger. And I think I told the story the other day. I was living in Houston. It was my 10th year anniversary, and the company I was working for, they would give you an anniversary lunch. So you could choose whatever you wanted to eat and wherever you wanted to go eat. Back in that time period, and it's still there was a restaurant called The Taste of Texas. It was a steakhouse over on I-10 in the Memorial area of Houston. And I said, I want to go to Taste of Texas. And they, okay, you can bring 5 people with you. Who do you want to invite? During that time, the invitations were like golden, because everybody's like, well, who are you going to take, Rick? Who are you going to take to that lunch over at Taste of Texas? And so I would pick my people, and you felt bad about not picking other people, but at the end of the day, I always picked the people that helped me with staying on that job for 10 years. And so they were my friends, the people that have been with me for 10 years, and I loved them. I still love them. I still am connected with them, because they are part of my journey. And you want people that are part of your journey to celebrate with you. So anyway, so when you get to the Taste of Texas and you go into that restaurant, first off, at lunchtime, it's full, just full. Parking lot's full, the waiting area is full, and people are just wanting to get in that place. And so we got in, and the very first thing that they do in their system is they welcome you. They say, "Come on in. Is this the first time you've ever been here? Have you ever been here before?" And I had never been. So he goes, "Yeah, this." And they go through the whole history of the restaurant, the Taste of Texas, the kind of meats they have, where they get them, when they get them, how they cook them. Excuse me. They give you the whole story. And at that time, I was already starting to think about businesses, and at that time, I came from South Texas after living there for nearly 20 years, and I moved to Houston. And when I moved to Houston, it was like a night and day experience from South Texas up to Houston. I mean, I went from a small little town to a humongous town. You know, traffic, from no traffic to traffic, from lots of drivers from little drivers to lots of drivers. And I just, it was just a different environment, but I had to adjust. And so then I started thinking about business. I go, so if I work at this company, and my company has about 13,000 people in it, what about all these other companies? What do they do? And for the longest time, when I was in South Texas, all I thought about was South Texas. My original idea to work was going to be do what my dad did, be a delivery truck driver, because that's what my dad did. And at the time, in the 60s and 70s, he did pretty well. And then my mom was working as a seamstress at a factory. Again, back then it was a job, so I didn't think nothing about it. Was it a good job, bad job? All I remember is we had a house, we had a car. They were able to put us in back then it was a private school, and it was great. I thought we had the best experience that a kid could have. A lot of my friends say, "Well, you don't sound Mexican American." I go, "Well, I am," and they go, "But you don't have an accent." I go, "I have more of a Texan accent, a Houston accent, than I do a Mexican accent." And sometimes that comes in handy, and sometimes it doesn't. But so let's go back to the story. So when the waiter said, "Yeah, this guy wanted to be have his own restaurant," and he started with this one location, and he only has this one location. So this guy had built this super big business from one location, selling meat and cooking it. But the atmosphere, the environment, it was all so irresistible that people just had to go there. And so and the company that I was working for was a global company. So we had locations all over the country, all over the world. It was a big major oil company. But this guy was making a living selling steaks on I-10 in Houston. And I go, "You don't have to have this big old thing to make money. You can have a steak shop. You can cook." And so my mind changed from I have to have this job where I go in every day to all of a sudden saying, what steak shop do I want to open? And you start looking around. What can I do that is going to make me like a steak shop? So my ahas for what I like to do is I like to learn. I like technology. I like to learn stuff about technology. I'm just a quick start about finding out things. So, and then once I find out about them, I teach them to others. I share it. I'm like in all my roles, I've always been like well, Rick, how do you do this? And I told them, well, this is what I know. If you know something different, great, but this is what I know. And I would show it to them, and then they would move on, and everybody would take my knowledge. And then I started reading, and I wanted to pull it out today, but maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I don't have it here with me. I started getting into, and maybe you have bought books like this, but you would get into these the income opportunity mailing lists, and they would send you stuff, and they'd send you emails, and you get all kinds of caught up in how to make money. And the first part about how to make money is to work in your mindset about what value can you add to others. And I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't want to be a teacher in a classroom where you had to go to a school and then you only taught these 20, 30 kids, and you're under that whole politics thing of that. I wanted to do something like this where I'm reaching 826 people have passed by. 9 people are in attendance right now. Thank you all you guys for being here. Jack, Javier, Joaqued, Tim, and I can't see the rest because you're hiding behind this one little timer thing. Because now I can serve the many. And from the many, if you're looking, if the timing is right, and I've said something that resonates with you, and you want to learn new skills, this is the way to do it. That 90-day freedom blueprint is all about skills. if you can go through that blueprint, at the end of the 90 days, you won't be the same person. You'll have learned so much. You'll have met so many people. You'll have interacted with people from all over the country, all over the world, that if you're a person that came from South Texas, where, you couldn't, it was just, you didn't even know what a big city was. You're just in your own little world. Everything's changed. And so I try to tell everybody, especially at my age, that the whole world's changed, and now you can be anywhere in the world just by doing this. So the first thing is to work on your mindset to get people to, and I see them all the time. I go into our communities, and everybody's first issue is about, I can't go live. I don't know about going live. Live is, rough, and live. Yeah. And so they all have this thing about not going live. I'll never forget when I was meeting a friend for dinner at a place here in El Paso, and she said, "I'm going to bring a friend." I go, "Okay, great." And so we sat, and when they came in, the girl that my friend brought, she goes, "I know you. I've seen you on your lives on Facebook. I've seen your videos." I go, "Really?" So you never know who's going to see your stuff and how you're going to impact them, and people like talking about stuff. And so one of the ahas that I picked up on for anybody and everybody is that nobody can replace your experience. You can't have followed the same path that I took. And all the learnings that I learned, they're my learnings. They're not anybody else's. They're mine. And so when I share them with you, they're unique because they happened to me, and I figured out ways to get through those issues. And like I said, now with ChatGPT, now I know how to organize those issues, because I said, so how do I add value to others? I share with you how to get out of the income trap. I share with you how to get out of the time for money loop. I show you how to get out of the confidence crisis, because the very first thing is people feel unqualified, insecure, or too late to start. It's never too late to start. And again, the idea that came to me is called self-ice. So it's easy to remember. You have to work on your self-image, your self-confidence, and your self-esteem, because those are the first hindrances to doing anything. Forget about having a job, learning, and all that kind of stuff. Just in general, how you carry yourself daily is involved in those three things: self-image, self-confidence, and self-esteem. So anybody can work on those, because those don't cost anything. They do cost. If you don't build them, you won't build up that muscle. And how I did it with books. Now they have the internet, so everything that's on my shelf is on the internet somewhere. Case in point, let me see. So, case in point, you can take any book. This is an old book that I had, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz. It's a big, long read. It has, how many pages in here? 280 pages in a paperback. That's a lot of book. And then to try to read it, try to understand it, try to reorganize it. But check this out. I'll come back to that in a minute. In the old days, I was telling a friend of mine, they used to have what they call Cliff Notes. I think they still have them. It's a way to have Cliff Notes that are shortened versions of a long subject. You still need to put in the time to learn that subject, but at least you can start out to figure out, what's this thing all about? And the Cliff Notes would to tell you. But now I can type in here and say, summarize psycho-cybernetics, and give me the the top 10 keys from this book. And it'll go out here and it tells you Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, foundational book in self-image psychology and personal development. If you change the way you see yourself, you can change everything else in your life. It says here, Dr. Maltz, a plastic surgeon, observed that some patients experience positive life transformations after surgery, while others remain mentally stuck. He realized that inner perception, not outer appearance, was the root cause of transformation. So if you are looking for a way to change yourself, you don't change yourself out here, you change yourself in here. And that's where I went from being thinking I was going to be a truck driver, a delivery driver like my dad, to now I wanted to serve the world. I wanted to serve many people, and I've gotten to do that because as I got my schooling and I got into these roles, I was always like the support guy. So I was helping people. So in our departments, in the company, I was always helping many people. But I was stuck in that job loop because I was the one doing the work, but getting paid just regular people pay. And that was still that wasn't their fault. It was my fault because I liked it. It was okay. I liked getting stroked. It was good. I stayed where I stayed because it was comfortable. And it wasn't until I had the Taste of Texas experience. I had these other company experiences. I started seeing more of what's going on in the world. I was in the oil and gas business, and if you're in data, back then it was called data processing, but now it's called IT. It was very, you just do your work. It's very siloed. But when you take a look at the whole process, or they call it the value chain, of how oil gets out of the ground and gets into your gas tank, that's a whole long process that a lot of people can't appreciate because they don't know about it. They just think they wake up in the morning and the gas is there, but they don't know how that gas got there. And so to me, everybody needs to learn how things get done. That's the beauty of America, because America lets people say, I want to open up a restaurant. But you have to have something to offer in that restaurant, because there's a lot of restaurants now. There had to be something unique about this restaurant. And the one thing that I remember seeing it was a great meeting place. People liked meeting over lunch. And one of my mentors would always say that the best time to network with somebody is over a meal, because everybody lets their guard down, everybody's talking, everybody's having a good time, and you build friendships, you build relationships, you build confidence in each other. You learn from somebody else, they learn from you, and then from there, bigger ideas happen, but it all happened over lunch. So you should be having lunch with people so that you can grow and practice your skills and practice your idea generation. I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, I said, back in the day, I had this book. I started giving away all my books because I want to move, and these books are weighing me down. I love them, and I for the longest time, I'd rather have my books than have my furniture, because those books are my comfort blanket. If I needed anything, I could just go look on the shelf, and I would have a book that would help me sort of kind of find the path. And I just said, if I want to move, I got to get rid of some of these books. So I started donating my books. Hello, Made OK #1 fan. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks to everybody that's stopping by and joining. Thanks for the 17 that are still here. So I got rid of books, because now every book that I have is in, or has ChatGPT has access to. You know, and so this book I bought, gosh, see, I even bought it at Half Price Books. Back in the day, there were stores called Half Price Books. I don't even know if they're still around or not, but I used to love going in there because people will read their books and then go back in and sell them to Half Price Books. And there would just be lots of books on the shelf. And so that was, all the books are there. The problem is we don't have time. We don't have to do all that reading again like I did back in the day. So now with ChatGPT, you can put any book in there, and again, it'll summarize it for you. And I'm just going to go through some of these because this is another thing. If you don't think you don't have anything to talk about, find a book, one book. And it doesn't matter even if it's one verse out of the Bible. ChatGPT can help turn it into content for you. And I'll tell you a story about what happened yesterday about that. So, he introduced the idea of the servo mechanism, your mind as a goal-seeking system. When you feed it clear, positive mental pictures, goals, affirmations, visualization, it automatically guides you toward that reality, just like a missile adjusts mid-flight to hit a target. And so, you know, there's a lot of people out here doing these lives. Thanks for those hearts. Tap, tap, tap to get more hearts. There's a lot of people out here that are talking about joining these, you know, programs and all this kind of stuff. And they're great. Everybody, I applaud you. Because you have to get out of your comfort zone to get into this live stuff. And how could I help teach you if I didn't do it? And so, to me, I've always been a person that takes that first risk, gets that I'm scared out of my system, and then I show you how to get out of your scared. And we just do it. So this ChatGPT is your biggest confidence builder. If I used to tell, I tell my rented grandkids all the time, you just pretend that you got me because you have me on your phone, and I'm only a phone call away. So you walk around like you have, you know, a big gorilla in your phone, and if you need something, just pick it up and call me. That's what ChatGPT is. It's like a big gorilla. If you need anything, you pick it up and call it and tell it what you need, and it's going to give you an answer. And then you just but then you got to take action on that answer. You read a lot of this stuff, and everybody. So that's another aha that I had. All the answers are out here, but until you see them or see the answer and take action on that answer, then it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do any work, because you have knowledge and you have action. Action, knowledge, and action. If all you do is learn and get your more knowledge, well, that's great. But that's all you have is knowledge. But when you marry it with action, then that's when you start getting results. Because you're taking that knowledge, taking action, getting experiences, learning skills, and those things are invaluable to you as you move forward in your life. I had a friend tell me, and remember, you always got to be listening, because people are telling you all these things. They're saying a lot of words, but they're all trying to help you learn different things. And there's one guy, a friend of mine named Scott down in Houston, he'd tell me, I tell my son all the time. He goes, I've been 18, 28, 38, 48, 58. You know, so there's nothing you can tell me that I don't already know. And so I would laugh at him, because that's true. You may know something that I don't know, but if there's a problem, I'll figure out a way to fix it. And so I always had that in the back of my head, that now that I'm 65, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, I've been 25, 35, 45, 55, and now 65. And all that comes with a lot of experience. And again, I don't have all the answers, just the ones that work, and just the ones that matter. because people question lots of things, but it doesn't matter, you know? So, ChatGPT, you can key in a book. You can type in a book. And then you can just add, you have to be specific. Give me the top 10 key ideas from psychocybernetics. Your self-image determines your success. And the quote out of the book is, you will act like the sort of person you conceive yourself to be. And so the thing about what's important about Maxwell Maltz is this. He was a plastic surgeon. People would come to him to get changed physically on the outside, but they never changed on the inside. And so it didn't matter how many surgeries they had out here. And you're seeing that right now. There's been a lot of posts about, women and men getting plastic surgery, and then you see how they're all, I'll call it butchered up. But it doesn't change them on the inside. So your self-image, your self-confidence, your self-esteem inside of you helps change your whole world. Your mind is a goal-seeking machine. So when you say you want something because you saw a car, a job, a piece of clothes, whatever, and you say you want that, your mind starts, how am I going to get this for him? For me, I started thinking about how can I serve the many. I was I was a student of Jim Rohn. Find a way to serve the many, for service to many leads to greatness. That mindset is about finding a way to serve the many. So I could go one-on-one with everybody, but then I'm not serving the many. I'm serving the one. And that's fine, because that one is going to come out of the many. But the person that I want is going to take the next step. They're going to keep growing. Because at the beginning, we all sucked. Everybody. Oh. I went to go work at this company in Houston. And I was all excited. And my first job, well, first off, when I went to work, the first thing they told me when I first went in for my orientation, great, you're oriented. Now go home and come back at 11. I go, at night? And they go, yeah, at 11. You're going to be on the graveyard shift. I go, what's a graveyard shift? It's my first exposure to a graveyard shift. And so I went home and came back. And back then, where I was working was going to be, so I worked for this company. It's a major company. You'd know it if I told you the name. But I worked in their IT department. And that IT department ran 24/7 because it was across the country. And there had to be reports out in the mornings to all these places, to different departments. And so our job was to get the reports, print the reports, and deliver the reports. Back then, they didn't even have online delivery systems. It was all, we had a guy had a mailroom that would deliver the reports. And so the programs ran. It would take the information that was inputted in overnight, go through the processing, and then deliver to people that would make decisions based on those reports in the morning. So at nighttime, these printers, they got these big old long printers, and they would continuous feed paper into the machine, and it would print. And as soon as one job would finish, it would start printing another one. It would start printing another one, start printing another one, start printing another one. And it had this big old box of paper. And when it would run out, you get an alarm, and then our job was to go refill that paper and feed it, and it'll print. Well, one of these days, there was a box of paper next to the printer. Unbeknownst to me, it was already printed on. And kind of embarrassed to say that. So I put the paper in the bin there to get it going again. Next thing I know, somebody's going, "Hey Rick, where'd you get that paper from?" I go, "What do you mean?" "It's printing on both sides." And there was a job so there was a print that's already printed, and back then they didn't have the printing on both sides. It was just printed on one side. And they go, well, there's printing on both sides. How'd that happen? I go, I don't know. How'd that happen? I just picked up the box that was sitting right here and put it in. Next thing you know, I was the first person that ever came up with printing on both sides of the paper. And it was just like it was funny at the time, but it wasn't funny then. I felt embarrassed again. But you make mistakes along the way, and it never happened again. And so you only fail if you don't learn from that mistake. So yeah, so now before I put a box of paper in the printer, I was always flipping through it to make sure that there was no printing on it, that it already had been used. And so you learn those things, right? And so again, going back to 10 keys from psycho-cybernetics, another top key is imagination is greater than your willpower. The more you think about it in here, the more you don't have to physically do it. And this is a case in point here. I wanted to fix up my computer, and I just started thinking about it. Next thing you know, this weekend I had the cover off. I had my air spray thing in there. Had some tools to brush off the dust that was in there. And so, but all those skills come from wanting to do it and not forcing myself to do it. I just go into it. So imagination, willpower, and we're talking about using ChatGPT to summarize books for you. We're summarizing the book Psycho-Cybernetics. You can replace old negative beliefs. Your self-image is built by experiences, but most were false conclusions from childhood. The good news, it can be reprogrammed with new experiences and mental pictures. So I only had the idea that I was going to be a truck driver, a Sears delivery truck driver for my dad, when he worked. And so I always thought I was going to be doing something like that. Everybody else in my sphere of influence was manual labor, and I always thought that I'd be doing that too. But somewhere along the line, and I know it was, we were sitting, I was sitting at a friend's family's home, and this guy's brother was struggling with a computer class, a computer book. And I go, let me take a look at that. So I started looking at it, and I saw what it was talking about. Oh, I understand this. I can understand inputs, processes, and outputs. And I saw it. I said, oh, so what class is this? And I started looking at it. I talked about programming and all this. And I've never been a great programmer, but I've always been a good process person. So I always know what are the good inputs. To get a good output, you have to have good inputs, right? And so if your output is sucky, that means somewhere in your inputs, that's something happened. And I saw that also play out again in sales when in this one company that I learned my sales skills from, they called it ALAS, A-L-A-S, or wings in Spanish. But ALAS meant to be successful in sales, you had to do activity, daily activity, which led to leads. Leads meant people not having what you offer. And then you set appointments, the A-L-A, appointments, because you can't offer a solution without you talking to that person. Uh-oh. So my system thinks that I'm not here, so hold on a second. I don't know why it doesn't do this, but it'll come back. So that was ALAS, activity, leads, appointments, and that's going to lead to sales. ALAS, A-L-A-S, appointments, leads, no, appointments. Activity, leads, appointment, sales. And so I started looking for processes because I figured out that that's what I liked. I like processes. I like figuring things out from beginning to end. How do things work? And so that's how that got started. But anyway, so give me 1 second. I gotta do a little thingamajiggy here. Perfect. I get a verification step. For whatever reason, it doesn't see me on here, even though I've been on here for over an hour. And verification is complete, so it'll kick on here in a minute. So again, going back to ChatGPT, you can take any book, type in the title to ChatGPT, and say, summarize this thing for me, or this book for me, and give me the 10 top key points. And when you get those points, or the top 10, you can summarize, you can read a lot of books in minutes because you've seen the big major points. And then if you really want to get more in depth, then you go read the book. If that's so, this to me is like one of the biggest, coolest takeaways from ChatGPT that I've learned how to do. Is one of the things putting pictures and putting it in there and say, take a look at this and tell me what it says, or what do you see in it, and it gives you stuff like that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So again, number 4, you can replace old negative beliefs. Your self-image is built by experiences, but most were false conclusions from childhood. The good news, it can be reprogrammed. Again, when something happens to you when you were a kid, you would think, oh, I did something to cause that. And then all of a sudden that becomes a burr in your brain for the rest of your life. And one of the things that most people also have is they need to work on their self-worth. I never, it's not that I never believed I was worthy. I just never told myself that I am worthy. You are worthy. And when I had that big aha about, I am worthy. I mean, I can have just as many things as anybody else can have. I can do as many things as anybody else can do. So I am worthy. And I started to stop being the victim and taking charge of my life. And I have a lot of experiences for that. That if you need an example, I have a lot of examples. And so the big thing for me, that the takeaway that I have is, like I said, my freedom is because I have my skills. With my skills, I could do anything I want to do. If I want to get a job, I can get a job, but I don't want to give up my time for the job. So I do teaching and training outside on top of my retirements and all that. So now I have flexibility. Flexibility equals freedom. When I was working at that big company, they would give us all kinds of trainings. And one of the biggest trainings that I got a lot of was they would give us stress management training. And so there was a formula that they taught that when your demands are greater than your resources, that causes stress. But if you create more resources that's greater than your demand, then you don't have stress. And so I don't have stress anymore, because all the resources that we have in hand at our disposal now should make everybody feel like a super person, because now you have the world. And again, you need to have some discipline about what you read and what you take in, because you still have to validate that. So trust it, but like I say, trust it but verify. And a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is just a lot of changing perspectives, ways of thinking, because you get caught in that stinking thinking, and that thinking just driving you crazy because you're doing the wrong things because you keep doing them. You got to stop. You got to stop doing what is not good for you. So when you go back to number 5, the theater of the mind, and we're talking about how I use ChatGPT that can summarize any book on that back bookshelf, and you don't have to go buy books. You just find a book, summarize it. It talks about the theater of the mind. Use visualization to rehearse success. Athletes, performers, successful entrepreneurs mentally practice winning before it happens. Your mind doesn't distinguish between real and vividly imagined events. I would have never thought that I could do this TikTok live studio thing or whatever. But I imagined it. I said, okay, so I'm going to be using this studio. This is going to be like my TV station. Because this is what it is. It's a TV station. It's a mini TV station. I got 33 viewers. I got 13 hearts that liked it. I got picked up a new follower. Great. But it's my little private TV station. And then once I cut it up, I have a bunch of little commercials that I'll put out there, that I'll schedule, that the system automatically posts them for me. And this week sometime, probably this afternoon, I'm going to do another live to show you how I schedule. And you can get lives done while you're doing your work. And with the split screen system, on the bottom, I'll show you my calendar and how I'm doing that. So going back to number 6 of key point is happiness is a habit. You don't find happiness, you practice it. Learn to respond, not react. Build a habit of gratitude, optimism, and self-forgiveness. I make a lot of mistakes, but that's because I'm trying. But I forgive myself for making those mistakes because I was trying to learn something or help somebody, and maybe I didn't do it the right way. But I'm happy. Right now I'm working in a class. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm working as a substitute for a position that they hadn't filled, but it's working in an autism unit. And normally I would be in the classroom. Easiest job there is well, not the easiest, but be a sub, go to the classroom and say, all right, your assignment is in Google Classroom. If you have any questions, let me know. You have to leave your phone before you go to the restroom. And that's all I would do, and that was easy. But then they had a longer term assignment in this autism unit, and I had worked in them before, so one day is fine. But I had never worked in them for 2 months. So this was a long term assignment. I said, I don't have to be shopping for a job every day for a sub position. So I said, I'll take it. And so I started working in this unit, and those 7 kids are so much fun, but they take it out of you because it's like you're being a grandpa all day long. And the teacher, she doesn't like it that I'm a grandpa in that class because I do stuff for them. Oh, so I grab napkins. Like who could? That's not a big skill to learn, right? Well, who's going to help them if they can't do it themselves? I go, they can know how to get napkins. I'm just doing it right now because we're on time. We got 30 minutes for lunch, but so all these little things that come with old gray hairs and grandpa duties, I share with them, and I respect what she knows about autism, but does really anybody know? Nobody knows. And since each kid is different, just like we are all different, they can't tell me that they know what he's thinking, or they're thinking, or she's thinking, when they're thinking it. Because they're trying to say that everybody just does, they're all the same, but they're not. So that one little girl, and they're like kids, they're like babies. If they're acting up, they have a need, something's going on. And what does parents learn and recognize? They're either tired, they need a nap, they're dirty, or they're hungry. That's it, or they want some attention. Other than that, that's all that, they're having to work through that. And they are processing stuff like, everybody's processing different. So anyway, so it's been eye-opening. It's been good for my person to learn about this because again, it goes back to reinforce that everybody's different. Everybody has different needs, and you got to have patience. That's the number one thing that we're lacking is patience, because everybody wants quick results. 90 days, you give yourself 90 days to change who you are in here and in here, then the whole rest of your life is going to change. Like I said, I don't guarantee incomes because I don't know what you're going to do, not do. I've bought a bunch of stuff that's on there that I've never done nothing with. I read it, I didn't like it, I put it back on the shelf, and that's where it stayed. But there's other stuff that I bought, and I took to heart, and I implemented, and they made me money. So that's where we're going with this. I use tools. ChatGPT is my number one assistant. I tried to give it a name because a lot of people give it a name, but I haven't found a name that sticks with it. So again, happiness is a habit. You don't find happiness, you practice it. I practice it when I come on here, I'm happy. I practice it when I work with my kids, I'm happy. When I smile, I'm happy. When I talk to, I'm just happy. At the end of the day, I like to be happy. there's an old Bible verse that I liked that I read, and I said, yeah, that's true. In all things give thanks. And I remember I was thinking, like, all things give thanks. In good things give thanks. Thank you for this. Thank you for letting me have eyes that read. Thank you for my legs, for walking, mobility. And then for the things that aren't good, thank you for learning patience with my, say, when I was, I just changed tires on my car, and it was because I had a nail in one of the tires. And I was going to eventually change them, but it came sooner than I wanted. But it, thank you for the ability to pay for these tires, And I changed them before I went on my trip that's coming up. And so I thank you, Jesus, for bringing down those gas prices, huh? Is your gas prices coming down? Mine are here in El Paso. They're coming way down. So anyway, so number 8, failure is a feedback, not an identity. You are not your past mistakes. Failure simply shows you what not to do. It's part of your course correction system. I'm telling you, systems, this is it. Having a system, thinking in a system, being a system. Our body is made up of systems. Circulatory system, breathing system, thinking system, everything's a system. All right? So live in the present moment was a key point of this book. Stop dwelling on the past or fearing the future. Focus your energy here and now. This is the only place where change and action can happen. And that is so true that we're always thinking about, what could I fix in the past? What can I fix in the future? It doesn't matter. What can you do today? Today. There's a furniture salesman in Houston. You guys have heard of him, called Mattress Mac. And his deal was selling furniture, but his unique take on furniture was, he goes, you buy it today, you'll be sleeping in it today. You buy a bed for me today, you'll be sleeping in it today. His was all about delivery, being different than the other furniture people, and delivering value today. Today, 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 today. You don't have any other time. Like I said, my today is this. This goes to my YouTube. From my YouTube, it goes to my Opus Clips. From my Opus Clips, it goes to the scheduler. For the scheduler, I just sit back and just let it work. And I get my messages. Post, done. Post, done. Post, done. Post, done. But I did it all within just 2 hours in the morning. And so systems help you be more and add more. And so I again, if you don't know where to start with that Freedom Day Blueprint. You can get it there at my site, and then you can work with me. So number 8 was live in the present moment. So we talked about that. And then number 9, you already have a success mechanism inside you. It's built in. You're not broken. You just haven't been programmed with. You've been programmed with faulty goals. Reprogram yourself by aligning with truth, love, and possibility. And he talks about in here that you're either working with your success mechanism or your failure mechanism. And the success mechanism is about being a problem solver. The failure mechanism, in my opinion, is about being a problem maker. You're always looking at everything negative. Everything's a problem. Everything's not going to get fixed. You're just a big negative. That's your failure mechanism working. But you can change it, and you can kick in your success mechanism. It's like starting up a whole new conveyor belt. If you're not liking what you're getting, get out of that failure mechanism, get into your success mechanism. And again, what we're talking about is using my ChatGPT to take any book that's on that bookshelf over there and having ChatGPT give you the top 10 key takeaways from the book, so you can read tons of books in a matter of days without having to read the book. Number 10, relaxation enhances performance. Stress and pressure shut down your creative success mechanism. Relaxation, confidence, and faith open the door to inspiration and flow. One of the things that, again, I always want to share what I know, but I can't do it for you, right? And so that always bothers me because I want people to have success. And it took me a long time to realize and get through my head is that my job is just to bring you the information. It's your job to take it and do something with it. And I can't do anything about that but help you, be a mentor to you. Once you're in our community, I can help you do that. But and I'm just going to tell you this right now. You buy something from me, it's not a one-day fix. We don't have one-day fixes. Everything that we do is long-term. It's a skill set. It's something that you'll pass on to your kids. It's something that you'll pass on to your circle of influence because it's a different way of thinking. It's not the old job mentality. We're working in the new times with new information systems, with AI, with creativity, with and I'll show you. So I'm gonna we're 22 minutes, 8 minutes left. So what I was working on this weekend was this. So I don't know when it happened, but somebody put something out there about using AI to generate songs and music. And if you've listened to me before, I tell the story that I don't play a musical instrument because I wanted to watch Wild Wild West back in the day when my dad had bought me a trumpet, he got me the lessons, he bought me the stand, he had bought me the case, but I wanted to watch Wild Wild West. And what did that get me? I didn't know how to play a musical instrument. But that didn't stop me from always picking up on songs, and we all know the songs, and we know songs that touch us because we live something like that. It could have been, the loss of a parent, the loss of a pet, something that touched you, a victory. When we all feel great when your team wins the Super Bowl, when your team wins the World Series, we all feel that excitement. And so in those commercials, in those everything that they show, there's always music, and there's always music to make you feel good. In the movies, same thing. Movies make you feel good because they put the good music. So I had seen this thing here called Suno, and Suno is an AI music generator. And I'll put the link in here into the comments. Because I am so in love with Suno now that there's a community out here of people that drop their thoughts about something into Suno. Well, I tell you what, you can drop them into your Suno, but what I like to do, I like to drop them into my ChatGPT because it knows more about me than Suno does. And I said, write me a song about this, that, or the other. But recently, I've been trying to figure out, so what am I going to do with this thing? How am I going to work with it? I was telling a friend of mine, I said, I told her about this music thing. And she goes, you think you can write me a song for my Bible study class that I'm going to be starting up on the bad women of the Bible and their story, in the Bible, that there's somebody already had, everybody has problems. And I go, sure, what is your, the main point? What's the verse you're using that sort of kind of serves the journey? And she gave it to Joshua something. And I'll get that to you. But listen to this song that came up, and I sent to her, and she just loved it. So let me see, I hope you can hear it. Hold on a second. Let's click on that. Every Woman Has a Story is the name of this song. And let's see. Tell me what you think about this song. Here it goes. There's a little lag. There's a delay. This thing. I hit play. Another mouse click. But see, that's what happens. You got to work with what you got. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the delay. In all things, give thanks, right? Ah! I hit it! Because now I got to wait. Because I don't know which click it's on. Here goes.
So every woman has a story.
Here comes the delay. Here comes the delay.
Tell them I had a secret. Rahab ran the game. Esther faced the kingdoms. Mary took the shame. Bathsheba found redemption. Leah found her song. Every woman's got a story. And Grace was there all along. Oh, the good, amen. Better use the messy, forgive the bruise. God don't throw his daughters out. He turns it all around. The good, amen. Better use the messy, forgive the bruise. God don't throw his daughters out. He turns it all around. Some are real. Women all
All right. I think that's where we're going to end it up today. Learning how to use AI to write songs. Hold on. Now, see if I can get it to stop. So, we talked a lot today, but the main part was about getting started, learning. If you don't know, there's a blueprint that's out there that we offer that, to me, is going to let you get caught up in the knowledge gap that you have. You'll never have what I have because I've been studying and reading and teaching and learning for many years. But if you're just getting started, this is a quick way to get started. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. But you'll never be the same person ever again. So go to that site, sign up for your 90-day Freedom Blueprint. Join us, join the movement, join. You know, there's a song in you. And all it takes is your thought to be put into this system and let it work the song and take it out of you and put it onto to the song. So I'm going to start this one back up again. And it's going to have to double click, go to the clicks. Here we go. Oh my God. Here we go. Don't touch. Is there another one? Another one coming? Another one coming? There it goes. I gotta let all the clicks go by. Come on. this will be it. After this song, I'm signing out. Everybody have a great day.
We're having the game. After face the kingdom, Mary took the shame. Bathsheba found redemption. Leah found her song. Every woman's got a story, and grace was there all along the good. Amen. The best, the mess, the bruise. God don't throw his daughters out. He turns it all around. The good, the best, the mess, the bruise. God don't throw his daughters out. He turns it all around. I saw every woman both faith. Every woman has a story. And God still writes the next line. African, African, every priest counted those that arch tonight. A smell within us freedom. God had a secret. We're having a game. Esther faced the kingdom. Mary took the shame. Bathsheba found redemption. Leah found her song. Every woman's got a story, and grace was there all along the good. Amen. The messy, God don't throw his daughters out. He turns it all around. Amen. The messy, God don't throw his daughters out. He turns it all around. Oh,
And that's it for me today. We'll see you tomorrow, 4:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 Central. Have a great day. Bye.
Tell my hat had a secret. Rahab came. Esther faced the kingdom. Mary took the shame. Bathsheba found redemption. Leah found her song. Every woman's got a story, and grace was there all along. Oh!